Can you share some strategies for making lifelong learning a real habit, especially when time and attention are limited? This is a question that we got in our community, and I wanted to turn this into a little quick tip session for you, and I hope that you find it useful. Everybody knows that the faster you learn, the faster you earn. If you want to look at the through line of some of the most successful individuals, they embrace learning and personal growth. But how do you make it a habit? Remember, first you create your habits, then your habits create you. So I want to give you a handful of quick tips. And you don't have to do everything, but this is for me supporting you be the limitless learner that you are. And so lifelong learning is critical to stay ahead in a rapidly changing industry. So here are some practical ideas for making learning a consistent habit, even with limited time and attention. Number one, prioritize learning with clearly defined goals. You need to define your learning objectives. Focus on areas that directly enhance maybe your skills or address gaps. Maybe there are market trends, communication, accelerated learning as a habit. Maybe you need to understand client psychology. And then set learning milestones. It's always easier to break goals into manageable chunks, like completing one book or one podcast series or one course per month. You have a to-do list. I highly recommend you create a to-learn list. Number two, leverage micro-learning. What is that? These are short bursts of learning. You could consume bite-sized content, maybe 5 to 10 minute videos or part of a podcast. Certainly our Kwik Brain podcasts would fall in that category. Articles. You could do this during breaks. You could do this during your commutes. You could turn your car, your commute, if you will, into a university on wheels. You could also find some apps for microlearning. Maybe it might be our Kwik Brain app. There are platforms like Blinkist, which does summary of books, other platforms that offer training courses. And so the sky is the limit. Number three, you need to build learning into your daily routine. And as an example, your morning learning could be dedicating the first 15 to 30 minutes of your day to reading or learning. I also suggest you stack habits. You could pair learning with existing habits, such as listening to podcasts while you're exercising, so that you're stacking those habits. You could also do a weekly review. Set aside an hour each week for deeper learning. Maybe like reading research reports or attending live online webinars, something to that effect. Fourth idea to help you become more of a lifelong learner, make it a habit, is choose high impact resources. So part of it is you don't want to learn everything. You want to curate quality content. You want to focus on trusted authors, books, courses, podcasts that are relevant to your career and to your personal wellness and growth. And you could certainly follow these thought leaders. Stay updated by following them on, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, which I hope we're connected on also as well. There are a number of also professional development blogs you could look into for your industry. And so stay industry aware for your career. You could subscribe to newsletters. Let's say you're in finance, you could subscribe to Morningstar or Bloomberg Brief or for concise updates. All right, no affiliation with these periodicals. Number five, make sure you use active learning techniques. Now, we teach courses on this. You can go to kwikbrain.com to see our flagship programs on meta learning, focus, memory improvement, speed reading, and so on. But when I talk about active learning, I mean applying immediately. For every hour you spend learning something, I recommend you spend an equal hour applying it and implementing it, because knowledge by itself is not power. It has the potential to be a lot of power. It only has power when we apply it, right? So relate what you learn to your current circumstances or challenges. Going back to finance, for example, after learning behavioral finance, incorporate it into your client strategies. Teach others, share your insights with colleagues or your clients. It reinforces your understanding and it adds so much value to your relationships. Another way of being active is to ask more questions. Engage critically with the material by asking, how does this apply to my work? What are the key takeaways? How can I use this? When will I use it? And one of your number one productivity performance tools that you have is your calendar. So schedule. If you don't schedule it, it won't happen. Do you want to be able to remember confidently the information that you hear on this podcast? Do you want to improve your memory to easily and confidently be able to remember names and faces, client information, give a speech without notes, learn another language, remember what you read, and so much more? There's a solution, and I call it your Kwik Recall. In just 15 minutes a day, for 30 days, I've designed the ultimate course, how to unlock your Kwik Recall. Just go to kwikbrain.com/recall. Enter podcast 15 for your immediate discount as a thank you for listening to our show. Number 6, to be a better lifelong learner, you can actually embrace technology for learning. Audio formats like Audible, podcasts, platforms to learn. You could do that while you are doing other things like exercising or commuting or cleaning your home. Also remember the e-learning platforms. Nowadays you have access to the world's information. So join us at kwikbrain.com and join the platform and the community and join people from literally every country in the world who has an interest like you do in lifelong learning and growth. So make sure you take advantage of those online platforms. It could be ours, there's Masterclass, there's LinkedIn Learning, but always think about the resources that you have access to that you can invest in time and money to upskill your effectiveness and efficiency. Also, there are AI tools that aggregate relevant industry content or personal development content or wellness content really tailored to your interests. Number 7, if I was to think of another one, is create a learning environment. Remember, your external world is a reflection of your internal world. You need to dedicate a space. Set up a quiet, distraction-free area for focused learning. Surround yourself with resources. You can keep books or notes or devices with learning apps readily accessible. You could also, in your environment, join a community. You could participate in study groups. You could create your own mastermind. You could join our mastermind. Number 8, you want to really get better at not only your mind management, but your time management, your priority management for learning. So what does this mean? Some simple ideas: time blocking. You could time block learning. Schedule learning sessions on your calendar just like you would a doctor's appointment or a parent-teacher meeting or client calls. Remember the 1% rule, where you dedicate just 1% of your day, which is just 15 minutes, to learning something brand new. And you could also batch learning. You could allocate longer periods, whether it's weekends or monthly retreats, for a deeper dive into complex topics. Number 9, use spaced repetition. Revisit and review. Spacing out your learning sessions to reinforce memory, and it also reinforces better understanding. There are also online flashcards. You could use tools like Anki or Quizlet for retaining key facts to quiz yourself so you understand concepts better over time. I want to remind you for number 10, another one is stay open and stay curious. Remember, your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. So you want to remind yourself to adopt a growth mindset where you're viewing every challenge to learning or every mistake as an opportunity to learn something new. Also, in this same spirit, you could also challenge yourself by diversifying your learning. You could explore topics outside of your main focus. Maybe if you're studying finance, to study a little psychology or communication to broaden your perspective and how it applies to your main learning topic, right? Looking from the outside in gives you different perspective. Here's a simple experiment. Try new learning formats. Maybe you try a gamified app or virtual simulations to keep the process more engaging. So technology can be a tool. And number 11, quick tip, is to track your progress. You can do this with something simple like a learning journal. Write down key takeaways and how you've applied them. You could use that to review. A lot of people take notes, but they don't actually review those notes or revisit those notes. And celebrate the milestones. Acknowledge when you finish a course or a book or you get a new certification. And I encourage you also to set those goals, whether they're monthly goals or maybe annual goals. Commit to learning a specific number of new skills or ideas or subject matters each year. Number 12, it's not just your neurological networks, it's your social networks. So leverage networking for learning. It can include mentors or having peers. Learn from industry veterans or colleagues by attending meetups or reaching out for advice. Go to conferences. You could attend various events and summits, big expos, where you can stay updated and inspired. While you're going through this process, make sure you ask questions. Engage actively in discussions, whether you're at a mastermind, you're networking, and sharing knowledge. It's different than, I mentioned finance. If I give you $1, you give me $1, nothing changes, right? Or whatever currency. I know we have viewers from everywhere around the world, it's the same, nothing's changed. But if I share a new idea with you and you share a brand new idea with me, all of a sudden we have 2 brand new ideas. So, an example, let's say you're a coach and you're just very busy. Maybe you need to create a learning routine daily. You can listen to XYZ podcasts during your commute. Maybe you're committing to spending 10 minutes of reading an industry update about coaching. You could do something weekly, where you could dedicate an hour on Saturday to review a book chapter or complete an online course over at Kwik. You could do something monthly also as well. You could commit to attending one webinar or one event. Maybe you do it quarterly. You take a day off for your own learning retreat. You could stay home. It could be more of a staycation. You can go somewhere else to eliminate distractions, to get out of your normal routine, but to explore new ideas, new insights, use your imagination, create that white space. Maybe you want to look at new trends, or you want to develop new skills. But by embedding learning into your daily life and focusing on incremental progress, you'll not only stay ahead of your career and all the trends that go with it, but also grow as a learner, as a leader. Lifelong learning is your ultimate investment in yourself. Again, you are the greatest project you're ever going to get to work on. Take time, make time, create magic. This is your brain coach, Jim Kwik. I look forward to seeing you in our next session.